So there's the gearbox there, drive shaft running forward, there's another drive shaft running back here, there's the motor there, and that's the bell housing there. I've zoomed in a bit here to show how the gears work. That's the end of the motor, clutch, bell housing, and that's the gear there. Now when you put the motor back in, you have to make sure that those gears mesh there and there, and if they're too far apart, that will spin and strip the gear there. So just make sure that they're sort of nicely meshed in. I showed you in the first part how to take the motor out and how to take the gearbox out, so I've already taken the motor out of there, and I'll just show you when you lift the gearbox out, both the drive shafts come out there, and there's the gearbox. This is the 2-speed gearbox, but I've taken one of the gears out because it was stripped. But that second smaller gear just fits in there. To pull apart the gearbox, there's a grub screw there and a grub screw there that you pull apart. There's a couple of screws there that you pull out. Find an Allen key that fits. Undo it, and the cup comes off. Same with the other end. Undo these 2 screws. And it just pulls apart. Don't lose any of these little bearings or anything. That bearing fits in there. Now see that bearing, keep that in there. Here's the gear. Gear just pulls off. That's a one-way bearing. Don't lose that. There's the little disc brake. Don't lose that. There's a bearing in there. Don't lose that. Here's the other gear. This one's actually the wrong size, but I'll show you how it fits on anyway. You see that these 2 gears aren't the right pair. There needs to be more of a difference between this gear and this gear here. So maybe it's a good idea when you buy a new gear to buy them as a pair, so you know that they're the right difference in diameter. That's the problem with this one. Anyway, how does the 2-speed gearbox work? You can see that little lever there running along in the middle there. When you get enough revolutions, that little lever springs out. What's that end actually? So that little lever pops out and hits up against that and starts this gear turning. So that makes the gear change. To adjust when it changes, there's an Allen key here. There's 2 Allen keys. One of them locks it on the shaft. The other one changes the tension of the spring which controls when that lever comes out. So by putting more or less tension on the spring, adjusted by that little grub screw, that determines at what revolutions this lever pops out and also when that gear engages. Replace the little gear changing mechanism, centrifugal lever if you want to call it. This gear's on a one-way bearing, by the way. You have to make sure you get it on the right way. Now we'll put it back together. So that end goes in there. That one goes in there. Screws go back in. And the little cups go back on. And tighten up the grub screw. Make sure it all turns freely.